Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and here's the deal. You're never going to stop crazy. Crazy will exist. Crazy is going to happen, okay? And we had an instance today where crazy, fortunately, did not succeed, but it certainly occurred. So what am I talking about here? Well, for those that don't know, there was a cockpit that was stormed today on Alaska Airlines, and the plane had to be landed. If you read this this highlight here, you'd think to yourself, well, obviously, this might have been a terror attack or someone was trying to hijack the plane. No, man. In the age of cell phones, somebody made a really bad decision. So I'm going to read this from the New York Post, and this is why it's tough, man. A lot of the cutting edge reporting, like we did yesterday on Epstein and where Jean-Luc Brunel is, or where Ghislaine Maxwell is, or the autopsy photos of Epstein, come out of clickbaity, tabloid-esque New York Post, right? And it's very questionable. So, an Alaska airline flight made an emergency landing Thursday after a passenger threatened to storm the cockpit because he couldn't use the bathrooms in first class, according to media reports. And we're going to get to the actual video from CBS report because they have the cell phone footage. Now I want you to think about this. This guy doesn't look like a madman by any means. It looks like it's somebody who got fired up in extreme ignorance, threatened to do a very, very stupid thing. I don't know that, for instance, they should have landed the plane. I don't know why we don't have, a security officer, somebody who can restrain somebody like this and everybody's day can go on, because this is just ridiculous. We're going to get to the video here. And again, now this is a little bit better.
Passengers on a flight from JFK, Alaska Airlines Flight 411 was headed to Los Angeles. The air for passengers on a flight from JFK, Alaska Airlines Flight 411 was headed to Los Angeles this afternoon. Cell phone video shows a man arguing with flight attendants. He was apparently upset over not being able to use the restroom in first class while the ones in coach were full. The airline says the man had threatened to, quote, harm the plane. The pilot decided to land in Kansas City, where the man was taken away by the police.
So, again, why do we have to land the plane because of this guy? Again, crazy exists. It doesn't look like there was a huge threat going on. He started talking some Jerry Springer-esque smack about not being able to use the bathroom in first class, and the rest of the day is ruined for all these other people, man. And this is just a small microcosm to me of how you can have all the security in the world, and there's going to be an instance where something like this occurs. Something bad's always going to happen. And if that just shows you how ridiculous our system is, right? That we had to land a plane because a guy wanted to use a bathroom, couldn't work it out. People should realize the things that are hyped up around there are often minutia compared to the real issues. For instance, how long has it been since there's been a real terrorist attack or attempted terrorist attack on airlines? Now, a lot of people would love to point out and say ridiculous things. Well, that's because of all the body scanners. I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with the body scanners. It's because we generally didn't have those before 9/11. And if you look at 9/11, okay, and we're going to do that in a moment, on every single level, it should have been stopped. Every single level, and especially on the hijacking level. So yesterday, when I went on Mick West's podcast, Mick West currently has a book out there called Escaping the Rabbit Hole. He is the founder and main moderator on Metabunk, if you know what that is. It's basically what people would call a debunking site, right? And me and Mick, or Mick and I, have kind of gone back and forth over the years via Twitter over certain matters, but we've always kept it pretty civil. There hasn't been name calling or, outrageous behavior by either of us. And I've seen him on the Joe Rogan podcast a couple times. A lot of people don't know. They think, I hear everybody call him a shill and, he's a government agent. And who knows what anybody is. But what I see is a guy who generally takes an interest in these things and wants to, quote unquote, disprove the majority of them, if not most, if not all, I'd say, right? So Mick is actually a video game programmer. And I'm not sure if he put this up today or not, but hopefully he will be putting it up soon. And he's actually one of the co-founders of Neversoft and the Tony Hawk games. So just that alone, I said, you know what, let's have a conversation. And when we were talking about 9/11, I brought up James Woods and how he was on television after 9/11 talking about how he had been on a plane where he reported some of the hijackers because he thought they were going to hijack the plane. And not only did he make this report, but the pilot of the plane made the report. And the stewardess of the plane made the report. I want you to think about that for a moment. Pre 9/11, we had a famous Hollywood actor, a pilot, and a stewardess all make separate reports. They thought several men on a plane were going to hijack it. You think something would have been done. Well, apparently it wasn't. Because now we know through the Dark Overlord data dumps, right? And I have a extensive video of this right here on my channel. In fact, I think if you go to the homepage, it usually is, this is weird. Set a reminder for that. My God, YouTube, what are you doing? But it's there. Maybe it's because it's live, it's not there. But if you go over into the main page or you go into the videos, I have the secret testimony of James Woods. And in that testimony, he reveals that Khalid al-Mihdhar, I can't remember, I think it was Nawaf al-Hamzi, and then two other men they couldn't quite identify, right? That they indeed were on Flight 11, one of the planes that would be hijacked, but not by Khalid al-Mihdhar. And I think it's in August, less than a month before the attacks, yet nothing was done. You have Diane Albright calling the CIA on Walid al-Shehri. So what's my point here? We have another incident on a plane, but it is minutia because honestly, planes are some of the safest ways to travel when in fact they're not part of an international intelligence operation where people like al-Mihdhar and Walid al-Shehri and Muhammad Atta were clearly shielded and protected prior to 9/11. Al-Mihdhar, for instance, lived with and rented from an FBI informant, right? And now we're finding out that a lot of the funding of al-Mihdhar came from Saudi Arabia, and one name in particular has hit the media. So here we are in really a world where a lot of this was a show. It was a facade. It was to install more of the track, trace, and database security software into places like airports. It was to create the TSA and Homeland Security. All these people wanted to stomp out ICE. I'm not a fan of ICE. Probably not for the same reasons that those people are, as I think that we should have border security, right? But what is it? It's an arm of Homeland Security, Deutschland Security. And we don't need that, period. It needs to be eviscerated. It needs to be gone. We didn't need another government bureaucracy to control the masses. That's just how I feel, folks. And if you feel the same way, if you like what I do, I am doing 3 to 7 videos a day on various subjects, such as this one right here. As you can see, we cover Epstein. We cover Nexium. I did a very, very in-depth interview with Whitney Webb of Mint Press that is a must-watch if you haven't seen it. We cover, the brainwashing of children through these new Mattel dolls. Shia LaBeouf talking about Bilderberg on Hot Ones and so much more. This is a show that is not about left or right, partisan politics, the false paradigms that are set to entrap and enslave us, but the truth that is out there, that there is a predator class, and we must rise up against it. So make sure to thumbs this video up, share it with others, and if you can, I got a GoFundMe, $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. I love you guys, and I will see you on the flip side.